Welcome, welcome, welcome to Liberal 12th Man Show. I am the Liberal 12th Man. And hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever I'm reaching you in the world, whatever time it is, whatever day it is, whether you watch this live on the replay. We're going to go into some fun stuff today. We're going to go into the game that we just won against the FA Cup, in the FA Cup, fifth round against Southampton. And we're going to have some friends along for the ride here, you in the chat. Brian also is with us today too. I'm going to bring Brian in right now. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. How are you?
Oh, hopefully Brian can hear me.
Yep.
Good,
Can
good,
you hear
good,
me?
good. I'm very well. Um, yep, I can hear you. I can hear you. It's a little bit. I think it might be a little bit choppy because I have usually when I have SofaScore open in the background, it somewhat gets a little because it has so much going on with the updates. It sometimes gets a little choppy. But I'll
Sure.
just close that actually. So, so yeah, how are you doing today? You doing good? Doing good? Said before,
Yeah, having a quiet day. Had a quiet day.
quiet day.
Just walking the dog, and relaxing. No
Very nice, very
responsibility.
nice. We have no responsibilities for the day is not bad on a Thursday. Psychedelic Shaolin, big up, brother. Dustin in the house, Alexander in the house. I can't say how much I appreciate you guys for showing the love and always being loyal and stopping by to, chop it up, kind of give your thoughts, give your ratings on some of these players, these young lads that played yesterday, that brought that continue to progress us on to the glorious reality of silverware. So so yeah, big up, big up. I got Kumas actually. That's who Brian picked the score. I believe, right? You picked
Yeah.
Kumas the score, right?
Yeah.
He's holding up how many more trophies we have to get. I figure I share that with you guys today. But yeah, we got fortunate yesterday. You got Kumas. You picked up Kumas as a pick for scoring yesterday. I picked Dan's the score yesterday. We both got our little bit of our prediction or our wishes, I guess, to come true yesterday.
Yeah. I didn't. I didn't expect Dan's to turn it on like that.
Yeah, he
Uh.
put it into another level.
Yeah. It's again, like I said, not someone I can sit here and go, oh, I knew this or I knew that, but that first goal kind of that tells you an awful lot because that's a real. That's probably been said 1,000 times now, but that's just a striker's finish. That's just a,
Mm,
that's just the finish of a natural, uh, not the not natural born whatever. But I mean that just showed you just when you see that it's like oh okay, all right, okay, yeah, he's
yeah,
that
he's
kind of
got it.
player. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. And the second
yeah,
one just perfect kind of anticipation, but the kind of just the power he got in it. And he's such a big guy. He's absolutely massive.
yeah, yeah.
It's
They were,
well, yeah, and like Klopp said today, I think you might have seen his interview. He just said, when I can't remember what the question was, but he said, "Remember these guys. Like remember
yep,
these. Like don't when the window opens, don't be asking for 12 transfers. Remember
right.
these kids."
Yep. Very good point. Very, very good point. Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple other things that he actually said too, as well. He also said the young lads were incredibly, were incredible in itself, but he also gave massive, massive praises to Joey G, who I've said, I think he's really like transformed into, I said, a younger version of Milner, in essence of like be able to providing in only the essence at least where he provides just a utility player in so many different roles, but also a player that you're getting pretty much sevens or eights, kind of performances out of. Nothing where you're like next world performance, but definitely nothing, but always a solid performance every time on the pitch. And that's something that I'm glad to see from the young man.
Yeah, I haven't seen Joey clock less than a 7.5 this year. I remember someone called it out the other day. He had a bad game against someone. I can't remember who it was, but I mean, if you can remember that one time he had a bad game, then that tells you all you need to know. He's been absolutely superb. And like I said the other night, he hasn't just been coming in like it's the point you're making. Like, yeah, Milner allowed us to do different things, usually in midfield or whatever. But yeah, he did his job at fullback. But Gomez has just allowed us to do so many other things. He's
Yeah,
allowed us to absorb a few of these injuries,
yeah,
and just so I would put him like he won't get it. But for me, if we do, regardless of what we do, we go on to the end of the season. He's always going to be like number one honorable mention for a player of the season. But he wants someone else to get it. But I think his contribution will be equal. But because of what he's playing left back, right back, it's not as glamorous. It's not as noticeable. But all us Liverpool fans, I think, will know he's
hmm
been pretty much vital, totally key to everything we've done this year.
yeah. He's been very vital in all the aspirations that we've had. He's been so versatile, as Drunk Vigo just said, and he's just been someone that you can count on, despite the fact that he had definitely a little bit of a dip in his confidence last year. He seemed to have found that all over, and it's very, very promising to see. I'm gonna drop a little big up to all the guys in the chat here. Some of the new, some new, some old, but all the same, all the same, all welcome and appreciate it. Realism, Jared, Alexander, St. Paul, Drunk Vigo. Who else is in there? I said Alexander. Yeah, I think I got them all right. Yeah. St. Paul, Realism, Jared. Yep.
And I was just going to say, he allows us to have injuries in 3 different areas. We can have an injury in left back, right back, or centre half, and he can cover it all.
Yeah.
I think the more it's going on now this year, even people that don't watch us or aren't Liverpool fans are actually starting to notice this guy's actually bloody good again.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a few England shouts, the usual when that comes around again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he deserved to go to the Euros. If you can't get, if England are so good that they don't have a place for Joey Gomez in their 22, 24-man squad, whatever it is, then fair play to them. That's all I'll say. You get into most other squads. I'm not saying he'd start, or go start the final or whatever, but surely he must be good enough. That'd be extra. That'd be the recognition he deserved.
Yeah, for sure. Some cool things about this game were like first time 2 18-year-olds have scored in the same game for Liverpool, which is pretty exceptional. The fact that we've had some talented youth players, but for two of those youth players to score is pretty exceptional. Trey Neone, third youngest player to make an appearance in the FA Cup for Liverpool. That's surely exceptional as well. I mean, like, big up to the young lad. I mean, 16 years old. Just the sheer fact that you're in that locker room with those guys probably is overwhelmingly incredible. But I mean, he's been in that locker room before, as he's been at least a selection on the roster before. But he's finally gotten to realization of playing on the pitch with these same players. That was something incredible.
See his face coming on. See his face coming on. See his face coming on.
Yeah.
He was trying to look all kind of game face. He was kind of like, right, here we go. And Klopp kind of runs over to him and gives him that kind of round the shoulder kind of hug and just says something. And he just starts laughing. He was but you could tell he was trying to get game face. Let's go. And then Klopp just comes over and just goes, well, I don't know. Well, who knows what he said to him, but he was obviously some to go out there and bloody enjoy it. Like, but then he started laughing again, and you could see just how much of a kid he was when he started laughing. Yeah. And I think the commentators are like, he's got school in the morning.
Yeah. Most of them had school in the morning, actually. Like I said earlier, one of those things is like, we probably got to ask permission for it, like, to make sure that we're not going past our curfews. There used to
no
be a time
alcohol.
whenever that like used to be a time when people would say when the street lights are on, you had to be home type deal, you know, that kind of deal. But with
Yeah,
him,
honestly, yeah, player welfare stuff now is, that, yeah, much better than it used to be, obviously. But I just think it's crazy that they're actually going to just normal school. I
yeah,
thought, I thought, there might be. Well, I know not everywhere can have a kind of tutors and stuff. I thought
right,
maybe,
like a homeschooling type thing or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of a cross between that school.
yeah.
Like it seems odd that they'd be in class with not. I
I
don't
think it's
know.
good though. I think it's good though because I mean, realistically, there's no guarantee on anyone's career. But if anything, you want to have the experience of being a kid, being able to like make those kind of friendships with your friends and your peers, and also be able to develop with them. Like as in, it's going to be a difficult little ride for him to kind of navigate alone since he's so young, but yet he's like sitting next to he could be in the locker room with like a Virgil van Dijk. You're in the locker room with some of these late 20, if not 30-year olds, that can be
Yeah,
certainly overwhelming, but you
his
do
whole
need
day
that
must be.
sense. Hey.
Yeah, well, imagine his whole day must be people just going, "Can you get me this? Can you get me that? Can you get me
Yeah,
this?" Can you get me-"
yeah,
Yeah, it must be kind of tough. Yeah, it must be a bit full on. I'd say when it gets to the point where they're making Premier League appearances, it's probably not ideal that they're going to normal normal schools. Like as long as they're not smoking around the back of the bike sheds, I don't understand.
yeah, okay,
Oh,
that's a very good point, very good point.
well, I
um
think it's cool too. I mean, imagine it'd be amazing. Like if I don't know, you're 16 years old and like you're playing five-a-side at lunchtime with trainee only, and
yep,
he's in the cup
yeah,
final yesterday.
it's incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, the best thing about this ride for these youngsters, this is at least my perspective, is that, excuse me, the best thing about this is that they have they're high. They're like, they're high and full of confidence, and they have nothing to lose. I mean, you have nothing to lose. Like, as in, this is one of those things where you just say, I think, like, just like as you spoke on Klopp, give him a big hug and just kind of say, hey, go out there and do your best. You have nothing to lose. As in, like, it's one of those things where it's just like, just enjoy this moment. Enjoy the fact that you're here, that you're able to like do something that you probably only dreamt of doing. Yet, I mean, much less probably dreamt of doing something later on in life, much less is this opportunity right now. Make the most of it, And I think that's what you're seeing from a lot of these kids. It's just like they're able to just say, you know what? Yes, I could probably get really wrapped up in the moment in the sense of like the heightency of it all. But if anything, they're just saying it, what, I'm just gonna just enjoy it. Just have fun with it. Just go out there and see what happens,
The
and
only
and
way to
know
play
that,
well,
yeah,
the only way to play well is when you're enjoying it. If you're
yeah,
playing with fear or any kind of nerves, you might be able to, you're a professional footballer, you might be able to go out there and, take along through the game, but you'll never express yourself. You'll never really be free and play your best football if you're afraid,
yeah,
nervous,
yeah.
not sure whether you actually belong. Like I like to think that when Leone was coming on, Klopp just realized that he was looking a little bit too serious, perhaps a little bit too nervous, and
Hmm.
just ran over and made some kind of Klopp joke as if to
Yeah,
remind him, don't
yeah.
don't do that. Just start laughing, go out there and look. It's just a game of ball. Go out and enjoy it.
Right, right.
Because that's the only way that the kid is going to just relax. As long as you're like Enzo will tell you this. Like as soon as your first touch is good, and your first pass is where you want it to go, you
Hmm.
set one pretty quick.
Yeah.
Just
You
it's
settle
those
down a
first
little bit.
couple of touches. Just so you need to be relaxed. Those
Hmm.
first couple of touches, because if you're nervous, you don't want that ball. You don't like the look of that ball. You need to want it. Give it to me. I'm going to give it to someone else. 2 seconds, two touches, one touch, one pass, and you're in the game.
Yep,
Then go and do
yep,
your stuff. Enjoy it.
yep. That's what we saw. That's exactly what we saw yesterday. It was a lot of good stuff yesterday. I mean, we basically booked our FA Cup quarterfinal. It's going to be a showdown against Manchester United. Um, it just goes to tell you
Yeah,
exactly what I said yesterday, or I believe it was yesterday when we were going through, when we are talking about the preview, or even the day before that, when we were talking about the sheer fact of, like, from the Sunday's matchup from the final, about, if they're going to if they're going to call what they called against Endo as a foul, or as an offsides, I should say, I would love to see what it is that what they do going forward with the same plays and same types of calls that could be made, because that's a call that should have been made numerous times before Sunday, but hasn't really at all. And it's one of the reasons why, like, when I saw, like, the two Robbies show, I was making a point to bring that out, to try to bring that out to one of the Robbies. But realistically, you saw Manchester United yesterday basically win pretty much, because as a result of the same type of play, that we got flagged off for or not flagged, excuse me, like, yeah, you can say flagged, or taken away from us in the Sunday matchup. It's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. I don't understand where and how many apologies we're going to take, or how many apologies we're going to see from the PGMOL, until they just recognize the fact that we're not looking for apologies. We're just looking for you to be better. That's all we're asking. Better, fair, balanced. That's all we're asking, But when you see the repetition of calls that are seemingly going in the direction, I don't want to hear this Liverpool crap anymore, ever. After this year, there's no way people could be like, "Oh, Liverpool." That's just bullets.
I heard a great saying there yesterday, and it was someone, I can't remember what it was in relation to, but to me, that stuff is all horse shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what this guy said, he said the best thing about horse shit is I can walk around it, right? Just avoid it. Just ignore it. You don't have to walk right through it. You can see it in front of you. You can smell it. You can just walk around. And so a lot of that stuff, yeah, like I said before, I try and just walk around it, because it drives you utterly insane otherwise. And to me, we won both those games. Don't do that, Vigo.
I know.
No, look, dude. Unless you're a kind of a if you've face tattoo guy already or something, I don't know, cool. But I mean, no, like, just from
you
wow.
might slightly regret that one. Despite it's a great accomplishment, you might slightly get the tattoo, but not on your face.
Yeah. That's a hard no from the panel anyway. And hello to everyone else that's come in there that was saying hello. Dustin and Barn.
Big up Asian Reds TV in the house. Definitely Red for Life. Dustin.
Yeah, no, Vigo, no. Bad Vigo.
Yeah, that is no bueno.
Yeah. Get on your ass.
But yes, yesterday we saw Luis Kumas get that goal. I understand it's a deflected shot, but still it's a shot on net, and therefore it is counted as his goal. And so he got his first senior goal, as we spoke on earlier. Brian called that one, which was a good call. It was a bold call, by the way.
Well, the one thing I did like was that I wasn't wrong, and it's not me saying I told you so kind of thing, but I'd only seen him play, and I was wondering if that was the way he normally played. And he does. It's in, like I remember saying, in that kind of pocket position on the left, just ahead of the midfield, not a striker, not a winger, but just in that. And that's that area that he picked it up in.
Yeah.
And he looked really good in that. I don't know what you would call it, a sort of an inside forward kind of role, but he's obviously not a winger.
Right.
He's obviously on a wide left, but it's interesting. It'd be interesting to see, like,
if he can develop into one. You mean
could be even like a midfielder, maybe. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah. It depends on how dynamic of a player that we can, like, really get a sample size of. I think
he's a big, tall guy as well. He's not a kind of a short little, kind of tricky player. He's a big, tall kid. Dan's and him, they're all, Bradley's a little bit slight looking, but he's still strong. But these boys, they're they're young kids, but like Dan's is bigger than Gakpo. Kumas is bigger than Diaz.
Yeah.
They don't look.
Yeah. Maybe that's also why you see Dan's actually, which I do like. You see Dan's try to utilize his height by going up for a lot of those headers and stuff like that, which is really cool. And speaking of Dan's, Jaden Dan's ended up scoring not once but twice, which is pretty incredible. So yeah, it was kind of unfortunate because I didn't get the wager in early for myself, even though I wanted Dan's to score, or even I said that Dan's would score. And then on the one app that I use, at least here in my state, at least, you can't, unless the player is actually on the pitch, they and during the game, it locks out like the other players. It locks out the bench. So you can't pick someone on the bench to score.
Yeah.
You have to pick only the players that are actually in the game to score. So I couldn't pick him. But the actual pub owner that for where I go for my supporter club, the pub owner was sitting by me watching the game, and I was like, oh, I can't get this bet in. I'm like, can you get the bet in? And he's like, yeah, I can. He's like, it's on my app. I'm like, oh wow, by the time it would take me to download it and set up accounts, I was just like, no, I'm just not gonna go through the whole process. I'm like, you should put that on there. And he put a couple dollars on it, and he won. He won on a parlay and that bet. And I was like, bravo, man. Takes it, bravo. Well done. No fear.
I'm surprised you couldn't go old school and pick up a payphone and call your bookie in Vegas, and get 10 G's on Dan's to score over the phone, old school style, man.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, yeah. I see Dustin saying, "Yo, 12, we have a Dan's contract. Every fiber profit shared." I got you. It'll all anything that's made off of Dan's wagers will go to the channel for sure. How about that? I'll announce that little that part of it. Because yeah, if you pick Dan's early to score twice, oh my goodness, the odds of that were probably astronomical. That was probably some very high odds. Sometimes so high that they probably didn't even put that as a chance or as a possibility for you to pick it.
Well, over here, I know it's slightly different over there. Well, I know it's way different over there, but say a bookie like Paddy Power, he has his website. He has his everyone knows who Paddy Power is, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, yeah, he's a big bookie.
UFC fighter.
No, dude, the bookies.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Paddy. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, but the guy at the company with betting app. You never seen Paddy Power?
Oh, I've never seen that. No.
Okay, but they're a big. He's an Irish guy. Set up a bookie betting company and got in early on all the apps and mobile stuff. Mm-hmm. He's one of the biggest now. There's loads. You'll see Paddy Power ads all over English football, Sky Sports, the whole lot. He's not even that old. But you can he'll offer you everything. But you can, if there's nothing there, you can ring up Paddy Power and just tell them what you want to bet on. They'll give you odds on, unless they don't want to back it. But something like that. If you went, if you went into the app and you wanted to back Dan, and he wasn't on the list, you could just ring Paddy Power. Not literally Paddy Power. You can ring the company, and someone people will take your call. And go, hey, look, I want to bet on this. This is my account number.
He'll just take bet. He'll just figure out whatever. I got you.
Yeah, he'll give you odds there and then.
I know what you're talking about. There's a Paddy Pimblett who's from Liverpool. He's a UFC boxer.
Oh no, Paddy Power, Irish, massive book.
Right. I'm just saying that's what I thought you're talking about. Because I believe he's a Liverpool fan too.
Name sounds
in the chat. You can back me up with that. I mean, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think Paddy Pimblett he's from. I know he's from Liverpool, but I think he's a Liverpool fan. I don't think he's an Everton fan. So you guys can back me up or tell me if I'm wrong in the chat.
It's a vaguely familiar name, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, let's get into this. Since we got a nice little, a couple heads in. Yeah, there you go. Keep It Real just said it. Big up, Keep It Real, by the way. Paddy Pimblett from Hoyton in Liverpool. Yeah. He definitely represents Liverpool to the fullest, which is pretty cool. Yeah, he's a red. Okay, cool. All right, just want to make sure. I didn't want to be giving props to Evertonian. So anyway, yeah, big up, big up. Let's just jump right into this. Let's get into this rating since we got a nice little crowd or a little audience with us. You know, some Mighty Reds Army out in the chat there, which is cool. And again, if you guys missed this on the live broadcast, please do put in your ratings or put in where you think we got right or what we got wrong in the comments. I definitely enjoy the comment sections of the videos. They're something that I'm definitely more engaged in making sure that I involve myself in, because it's important to the algorithm and everything else, blah, blah, blah. But also it's a way for us to communicate as well, even outside of sometimes if you're here live or not. So I wanted to get into this. Let's start off by your countryman. What a great performance by Kelleher. Still making some really, really big saves. A lot of the pundits, a lot of the broadcasts I saw were all speaking on the fact of how Southampton missed so many big opportunities, how they were trying to make it seem like we were lucky to get this win. How we were in other words, some people were even using those words as lucky. Oh, big up Dakota.
Hey, Dakota.
Team Capri Sun. Big up, big up, big up. But go ahead.
I was saying hello to Dakota and saying hello to JK.
Oh, JK, big up JK. I just saw JK pop in too, definitely. But yeah, a lot of people are out there. They're saying how that first half, especially, we were fortunate to get what we got out of it, or to go into halftime with a 1-0 lead. They made it seem like it was more so Southampton missing their opportunities more so than us thwarting their opportunities. I'm more on the latter, in the sense of saying that I thought Kelleher played really well. He made some really decent saves. Once again, how are your feelings on the Irishman?
Yeah, I thought he had a good game. I'm with everyone that says we were lucky. Southampton should have scored. Southampton should have scored at least once in that first half. They could have scored twice, and they wouldn't have even been saved. There would have been no saving to be done. They couldn't really take their chances, but that's sort of binary, they're Southampton, so they don't have the best players. The best players don't always take their chances, but I think they'll be kind of kicking themselves. They should definitely have scored one. They won't understand how they didn't score at least one goal. I would say they were unlucky not to score. I think for about half an hour, I thought they were playing really, really good football. They were really brave. They were inviting a lot of pressure, but they have a way of playing, and they stuck to it. And yeah, Sulemana could have scored. Aribo could have scored. The other guy could have scored. I can't remember his name now. Mata, is it Mata? Something like Mata. Oh God, what's his name? Mata, something like that. So I thought we were getting away with it.
Mara.
Yeah,
M-A-R-A. Mara.
That's the guy. Yeah, I thought we got away with it. But if you don't take your chances, that's what happens. I thought they were really good to watch. Like I said it before the game, I was totally wrong. I said I'm probably just being lazy confident, but I didn't think they were going to show up, and they totally proved me wrong. They really showed up. They played really, really well. They attacked us. Like I said, they passed it around. Kind of hard to attack football at points for them, and they created 4 or 5 chances that I can think of. I don't know how many. The stats are going to say big chances, but watching the game, they were creating chances.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of did what we did, and they were making a big deep point of it at halftime. We are basically the second half team. We're second half FC. 38 games played, and then all our amazing records are coming back and scoring goals in the last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes. And that's what happens for a team like Southampton. You go to a club like Liverpool, you play well like that in the first half, and you don't take your chances. That's what happens. You will get heartbroken at the end, because the bigger team, the team with the better players, will kind of take control. as it goes
Right.
on. So I'd give them massive props. Really, I think,
Huh.
not saying that we were lucky to win, but they were definitely unlucky not to have scored at least once. But like I
Okay.
say, don't take those chances. You will. There was one especially. Oh God, I can't remember who he was, but he was on the near post, and he was literally 2 minutes away, or he was
Mm,
2 feet away. He just had to
mhm,
touch it to go in, and he put it wide. And I think
mhm.
at that point they knew. But yeah, like he was saying, you get punished if you don't take them. You get punished,
Yeah.
and we see it happen to little clubs all the time. Go to a Man United, a Chelsea, a Man City, and for 60 minutes they're brilliant. But they
Yeah.
don't take their chances because they can't take chances under pressure. And next thing you know, bang bang, you're 2-0 down, you're out. So
Yeah.
Keller played his part. So I'd give him an 8, definitely an 8, a high 8 kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah,
he was 86% accuracy for his passing, had 6 out of 12, like as in this distribution by trying to start to initiate the attack was 6 out of 12 long balls, 3 saves, three saves from inside the box. Had a punch, had one high claim. I thought that he played really. I thought he played really well. I thought he played. He's it's a sense of, and this is something I've emphasized, and I know that you agree with this, in that one of the biggest attributes a goalkeeper has to have is confidence. If a goalkeeper has confidence, he'll make saves that sometimes you didn't even know that he was possible of making. And like with Kelleher, I think that confidence is definitely growing with every game that we see, and allow for him
oh
to
yeah,
know that he's going to be a starter. You know, despite the fact that, yes, most likely when Ali is fit, Ali will return as the starter, but still at this time, at this
let's
place in
hope.
time, he knows that it's his time and turn to actually showcase his talent if he wants to go on to other pastures, or showcase his talent in the sense of saying, hey, I'm worthy of keeping here, and possibly giving that first team nod eventually in my career. So I thought it was excellent for him.
Literally in safe hands, literally
Yeah.
in safe hands till Ali comes back. And I hope this gets Kelleher. I think his inevitable move in the summer. I'm calling it inevitable, but it's been. And again, that's just like the talk in Ireland for 2 years. Is that
Mhm.
he doesn't want to leave Liverpool because he hates Liverpool. It's just he knows he needs to be a starting goalkeeper, and probably not going to happen at Liverpool. So he's looking for that opportunity. But we've convinced him to stay a couple of times now with different things, and hopefully this gets him a move to a higher profile scenario. But can you just do the next 5 minutes without me, and I'll be
Sure,
back?
sure. No
Yep,
problem, no
thank you.
problem.
Okay.
No problem. So yeah, yeah, he gave him an 8. Brian gave him an 8. A little harsh for his countrymen, I'll say. But tell me what your guys' scores are as well. You can definitely, you know how I am. I always like to participate, have you participate in that and include your scores. Um, Dustin said I agree with 8 because I think he can improve. Oh wow, Dustin, you'd have to elaborate a little bit on that. I thought he did well. I mean, anytime you get a clean sheet, that should be a positive. I'm with Alexander on this one. I'm gonna keep him at the 9 spot because clean sheet. It's his second clean sheet in a row. Let's hope that he can get another 3, 4 clean sheets in a row, and I think all of us will be good with that. So let's keep it that way. Um, let's move on then to Simicast. Simicast. I thought Simicast was really, really, it ended up being Simicast. I'll pick up Dakota. I see her. I'm going to make sure that I get your rating in there. Dakota gave him a 9. I was going to say with Simicast, Robbo most likely or could have started this game. Apparently, he was ill, so he ended up not starting. I picked Simic. I ended up saying that I wanted to see Robbo, or I was expecting Robbo to start, but then again, I was easily wooed into the Simicast starting camp. So Simicast, I thought, had a good game. Nothing bad in the sense of he wasn't really getting anything taken at him. He had 100 touches, 100 touches in the game, 2 clearances, 4 interceptions, 2 tackles. Definitely stepped it up there. It was 2 out of 10 for his crosses, 1 out of 6 for long balls, but 3 out of 9 for his ground duels. How'd you feel about pick up the I see you, keep it real, make sure he's solid. He's solid, brother. I got you in your color. What were you saying on Simicast? I know some of those ratings might necessarily push him into that above average, but it might for some. I see JK, another sheen sleep. Okay. So keep it real gave 7.5. Okay, 7.5. And I'm gonna read out your Kelleher after this, Dustin. Kelleher comment after this. Simicast was JK says Simicast was an 8, was a old head in a young defense. Yeah, man, he had to hold it down for sure. I mean, that side, at least he knows he has Virgil next to him, so that kind of helps out when it comes to everything and anything. But okay. But Alexander gives him a 7. Okay. Dustin gave him an 8. Okay.
Simicast?
Yeah, Simicast. So 7.5, an 8, a 7, an 8. Okay. You guys think of it as like an average. Yeah. Okay. I'll put him as a 7 for right now, I guess. And maybe we can bump him up a little bit if we end up reconsidering. How about for Virgil? Okay. There's a question for you, Brian. That's I'll see if I can find it for you.
Me?
Why
do you care what I think? Okay. Hope something personal.
Yes. Do you know if Kelleher is a boyhood Liverpool fan, or was he a United fan?
No, he's look, a lot of kids down in that part of the world, they grow up in a kind of GAA scenario, which is Irish sports, and they can kind of mix and match a bit. But yeah, he's a Liverpool fan, but I mean, someone like him would have grown up supporting all kinds of sports and different things. He probably would have been a fan of one of his the local GAA teams before he was a fan of anyone else. So that's like this guy. He comes from a very GAA country, which is Irish football, Gaelic football, and hurling. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was more of a GAA kid growing up, because they all are down there. Yeah, Gaelic football. But as far as I know, he's a Liverpool fan. But like just to finish what I was saying before, I hope these performances get him moved to a really top club, because he deserves it, I think.
We'll see. It should definitely solidify himself as being, the top keeper for his for your beloved Ireland. So that's
sure. For Simicast, just before that went, I would have given him 7 as well. Well, a 7.5. Just but he's in there anyway.
I'll keep him towards the front of the tier then.
And Virgil,
and then we're on VVD now, and I'm seeing some of the ratings for VVD. Dustin gave him a 10. Alexander gave him a 7.5. Wow, we're kind of like a little bit all over the place with some of the ratings. 10 from Dustin, 7.5 from Alexander. Honesty gave the King an 8. JK said Virgil got an 8 respectively for actually starting a game after the marathon on Sunday. Okay. We can give Virgil an 8. I'm okay with that. I thought Virgil had a good game. I mean, obviously he only had half to work on. The sheer fact that, he surprised a lot of us. Big up to all that joined us on the pregame lead-in that we do here, the preview lead-in that we do for the games. Big up Roster Crab. Big up, brother. Roster Crab, I hope that you stick around, because I definitely want to. Your favorite player is going to definitely need a rating from you for sure. So hopefully you stick around, Rasta. But yeah, for Virgil, I thought it was, unique to see him in the lineup. It kind of goes with what I said about the whole captain thing. I know Brian doesn't co-sign on what I had to on my perspective of it, but it's something that this is something I've noticed that at least Klopp has done. I'm not saying every coach does this, but at least Klopp has certainly done something similar to that extent. We're trying to hold the have one of the captains be leading the team out.
Well, that wasn't exactly what I didn't agree with. What
Okay.
the point I was making was that I agreed with you that he would want senior players in the squad. What your thing you were talking about yesterday was the leadership group, saying he'd want someone from the leadership group, and I would say that you would always want senior players on the pitch. The leadership group is just sort of a title that wouldn't have been there before, and you would still be putting senior players. It's just that I don't think it's because they're on the list. I just didn't think that it was because of that, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like I've said, there's always going to be like, right, I'll get my 7 kids out, so I'm going to need 2 big brothers. So yeah, the big brothers, whoever to be, will always be in I haven't seen the list, but a leadership group, definitely. But it's kind of more, it's just an organic thing. It's just, but yeah, definitely no, you will always have. But we were talking about that, and we were like, yeah, but there's no way it would be VBD. And I think everyone in the chat, I said it, you said it, JK said it. It was like, yeah, the one guy. Yeah. Well, I don't know where that came. That came out of left field.
Yeah,
that was the one guy nobody saw. And like someone said earlier on, he did the game before. So I hope he's fit and feeling well, because we're asking him to do. And yeah, look, and he also made a fool out of me. Like I said, football will prove you wrong more often than it proves you right. And we all sat here saying that, because if he does, when we realized he was starting BVD, we're saying, well, he's going to play BVD for 90 minutes. He's not just going to play him for half. And what did he do? He takes him off at halftime.
Yeah.
So it was
which I was cool with. I was cool with seeing that, like, you know, he's not trying to rinse him. He's not trying to, like, you know, make him go out there for 60 minutes or 70. I mean, that it might not sound like a lot, but those extra 20, 30 minutes that you add on to that first 45 is a lot, you know. So
it only takes 2 seconds to get an injury.
No, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. How about we move on to Kwanzaa then? I thought Kwanzaa had another good performance next to you know, to the man that some people feel he emulates in a younger body, I guess. I think that it's great to see that he's comfortable on either side, whether he's playing in the Virgil van Dijk left center back role, or if he's playing in the right center back role. I think we've seen the same comfortability in him for that, which is exceptional. And I think that makes it really, really positive, because now you don't have to say, oh, well, you know, you could start him with Virgil, or you could start him with Konate. You could start him, you know, as it doesn't matter. It makes it so much more versatility come to our team because of that kind of concept. Let's see. Keep It Real gave him a 7.5. Rasta Crab gave QVD. Okay. Gets an 8. Alexander gave him an 8. VVQ gave him from Dustin. VVQ gets an 8. First half, second half, good. First half, but second half, good. Dakota gave Kwanzaa an 8. What was your rating on Kwanzaa, Brian?
Yeah, I'd be giving him an 8 as well, and I think it's extra points to Dakota and JK for calling him Kwanzaa, because we need to stop the VVQ stuff. We spoke about this yesterday. We were joking.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah,
we spoke about the next Messi, the next Pele, the next Maradona. He's not VVQ. He's just Q. He's Kwanzaa.
He's just Q.
Yeah, just let him be him. Just let's stop the VVQ stuff. Starting it here, guys. We're starting it here. This is where it starts.
Well, how about for our young Connor Bradley?
QVD doesn't even make any sense. Like,
come on, I got you.
That doesn't even make any sense. Kwanzaa Van Dijk.
Yeah.
He's just Kwanzaa.
What about our young Connor? How would you feel about Connor Bradley, people? how'd you feel about Connor Bradley? I thought Connor Bradley, has definitely settled into his game. Shoot, like he ended up, like I said earlier today when I was speaking about that parlay. My friend that hit that parlay he's asking me, do you think I can get this parlay? And I'm like, yeah, I think you can get it. I think we'll get. All you got to do is get one shot on goal from Connor Bradley to hit on his parlay, and he ended up getting it. He ended up getting his parlay by the shot that he got from Connor, and then us scoring that third goal. He ended up getting that parlay. So I was like, wow, you must really like, you got to love Connor for you right now. But, but all the same, Alexander gave him an 8. Ross got a little something for you in there, Brian. But all the I got you. I just saying. Yeah. Alexander got 8. Dustin gave him a 7. Keep It Real gave him an 8. 7.5 for the Trent understudy. He's class. Bradley is great. It's an 8 from Dakota. Don't worry, Brian. Dakota's got your back too. I see that. The young Bradley gets an 8.5. Okay. Bradley was great. Okay. I thought Bradley was solid play. Above average. Is that a good call?
Yeah. Am I going to rate Bradley? Or do I get past?
Yeah. No, I was saying that's what I'm asking you. Is 8 a good call for you, or do you have a lower or higher?
I'm fine with that. I just saying to Crab, there's nothing wrong with changing the music with the song. Sucks, Sometimes you got to change the vibe because it ain't a good vibe.
Okay.
I'm only kidding with him. He knows I'm only kidding.
I know you know that.
Bradley 7.5, 8. Yeah, that's cool. That's fine.
Okay. JK gave him a 7. Okay. How about for I'm gonna move right towards the DM because I know the DM is something of a position that a lot of us were kind of suspect on. Some of us were a little bit more grounded, at least a little bit more confident that we would be able to persevere through it for finding who we needed. But yesterday, I'm sure none of us, as Brian said it in the lead into, Joey G at DM was something of a surprise. You talk about VVD showing up in that starting lineup. I'll tell you, for me, seeing him at the 6 was like very, very surprising. But I actually, again, it's what I was speaking on earlier. It's the reason why Klopp gave him his flowers in the press conference. Big up to Joey G. To proving a lot of doubters wrong, turning doubters into believers. Joey G did a thing yesterday. It wasn't like we expect Joey G to be the starting DM going forward, but I mean the sheer fact that he put in a shift at the position when we needed it. Big up to him. What was your rating for Joey G? Tell me in the chat and tell me what yours is, Brian, while they do that.
Yeah, the boys are, everyone's bigging them up there in the chat. I'm with Keep It Real a little bit, and it's understandable.
I got you.
Because I said it after about 15, 20 minutes. I said, this is another half-time job. This is what happens because we're doing it all the time. We're sending an 11 out that's never played together before. And the sort of the gap between having played together before and never is getting wider and wider and wider, if you know what I mean. Like we were having a point where you had one guy who was on the pitch who would never start in 11. Now we've got like 4 people who never, you know what I'm saying? It's getting more and more. So it's like the manager sending him out saying, I want you to do this. Then he sees what Southampton are doing. So we're constantly having these halftime things where we come out, Klopp has said, look, do this. This one, and he gets into him and he changes it.
Right.
And Keep It Real is right there. Like Joey Gomez probably wasn't entirely sure what his role was. So that's not his natural game. But he came in then after the second half. Then everybody stepped it up, but it was very unusual for the first 10 minutes. Even some of the managers, even some of the commentators, and I prefer some of the commentators that aren't all like hyper factual and hyper fixated. Like one of the co-coms was kind of like, yeah, what's he doing in there? It's kind of like a fan, just generally like a fan. It's like, where's Gomez playing? Oh, okay, he's playing in there, and he was kind of learning along with everybody else. He's not, oh yeah, well he plays 50% of the games here, all this kind of stuff. It was just good because it was catching everybody off guard a little bit, because it was like, is he just there for a minute? Is he going to be there all game? So it took a while to see what Klopp was trying to do with it.
Right.
But then back in the second half, he's in the centre half position at times as well. But I don't know how would you rate him. I don't know how to rate him, because I think he wasn't brilliant when he was being played out of position.
Right.
You know what I mean? It does
right.
So I'll go 7.5.
I'll give you some. How about I'll give you some of the stats. Maybe that can woo you one way or the other, or at least influence you somewhat. Played 90, obviously, had 77 touches, was 91% for his passing, so he's 59 out of 65 for his passing. Tried to cross, didn't connect on it, but was 3 out of 4 for his long balls. Had one shot off target, obviously, one shot blocked. Was 1 out of 3 for his ground duels, but 2 for 2 for his aerial duels. Committed no fouls, had 3 clearances and 1 tackle. So I mean, pretty decent. Not incredible stats to say the least, but like as in, certainly wasn't a negative. I would have rated him as. I would have given him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt of above average, considering that's not his natural position. Let me just hear me out.
No, it's what I said. It's what I said. It's Dustin is trying to say to me. That's what I said. It's not his natural position, and he got better as the game went on.
Exactly, and that's all you can really ask for someone trying to, do a duty and perform a job for you out there, and you're getting decent results. You're not looking for him to be, the rebirth of some of Mascherano or something like that. You're just looking for him to be a solid player, and that's what he was. And I will say this, despite the fact I get the inverted role, definitely as an inverted role, you normally see the player progress a little bit further up in the midfield and progresses himself into the offense. You do somewhat kind of play in sometimes that DM role too, even though you're in that inverted role, because it's just positioning, as in, if you're in that spot and the circumstances call for it, you're not going to try to revert back to your right back position, or what I'm saying. So I think that's possibly the reason why he thought maybe he could possibly get something out of him from the midfield.
And it's a very flexible role. Yeah, it's a very flexible role, because when you do that inverted thing, like I've spoken about often before, when Man City were doing it, they were doing it with John Stones. Not always. Look, but when they first started doing it, their original kind of main idea of doing it was to get John Stones into midfield. So a centre half who will go in and be kind of a playmaker, because he's massively underrated, because he gets injured all the time, just how good a footballer he is, and he can pass with the best of them and all of that. So it was to get him in there, and again, it's mainly to create 4v3s and overloads. But we were doing it with someone from right back, so they were doing it from centre half, we were doing it from right back, different ways of doing it. Like that, we were expecting Trent to do different things to John Stones. So I think it's very easy for Linders to go, right, well, we're going to do an inverted system as per, but this time we're going to do it with Gomez is going to sit, so you do something else. Or, do you know what I mean? It's kind of probably a very flexible system in terms of who you invert and what the inverter's job is. Again, this is me, like pure guesswork, right? But I can imagine it is sort of, no, we're going to do it in a defensive way or an offensive way, or it'll free up a fullback, or it's going to free up a midfielder, or all of that. I'd imagine it's very interesting. It's probably very interesting for coaches, because it is probably flexible. But again, of course, the idea with this, or the kind of the crux of it is, you can invert all you want, but if you don't have the players to do it, we're talking about high caliber players, like, and then the high caliber players to follow the instructions and to fill in the gaps and all of that stuff. So can probably get a bit too deep for some people, but for the average kind of rating show and all that. But it'd be interesting to hear, maybe Linders at some point speak about how they use it and what exactly we do and what we don't do, which is always more interesting to me is what we don't do, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So Gomez can sit there all day and do that kind of thing. I'd be happy. Like we were saying earlier on, when's the last time Joey G let us down?
No, you can't say it. I'm giving him I saw a couple 8s, 7s in there. I'll give him like a low. I'll give him like a low 8. I think that the sheer fact he's,
fair.
like,
I think that's fair.
Let's move on to James McConnell. McConnell was pressed into the midfield in a starting role. I know a lot of people were very high on him coming off of that performance in the cup game, but or at least in the final of the cup game, the League Cup game. But this is like, you take you on the role as a starter is something of an important role that you're going to have to take on, like, by the scruff of the neck. And I thought he had a decent game. Let's see. I know he was subbed out, but did decent. I'm trying to make sure how many minutes he did actually have. He actually had like 62 minutes played. I don't know if he played as well as he did in that cup game, but I definitely think that he played well. What would you rate McConnell at?
What were his stats for the game? I'd like to know his
stats. His stats aren't the greatest. He had 30 touches, but was 22 out of 24 of his passing, so it was 92%. Was 1 for 1 for his long balls, 1 out of 6 for ground duels, lost the ball 4 times, was fouled or had 1 foul, 1 tackle, and he had an error that led to a shot. So
he had a poor game defensively. Then he had a poor game defensively.
I feel bad doing it, but I mean, I agree with the chat. For me, I do agree with the chat.
Below average, yeah. Great passing accuracy. Obviously shows his quality on the ball.
Yep.
But yeah, in the midfield, you're getting beat. What's it, 1 in 6? Wow.
Yeah, and I think Realism Jarrett might have a point too, because I think maybe that's the reason why we saw him subbed out so early, is that McConnell's stamina was waning a little bit, but that's expected as a youth. Yeah, I don't know, as a youth, somewhat, like as a youth, most of the times, like you play all day, you play all night type deal. You just keep on going and wake up, you do the exact same thing. But hey, what it is. Bobby Clark is the next youth that played in that midfield, which is pretty exceptional if you think about it. If you look at it, the midfield was a pretty young midfield. Bobby Clark looked really, really well, looked involved, engaged in most of the plays I saw him, was a creative player for us yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Trying to think of I think he definitely has made a solid shout for him to get more minutes, going forward, because I mean, eventually we are going to see some of these players like your Salas, like your Doms, return to the starting lineups and return and obviously take away minutes and opportunities. But I mean, I definitely can see him getting call-ups still to be a part of the senior squad.
He's probably, kind of. I'd agree with that. You wouldn't be dropping him back down, to off the bench days. But you're right. This is what happens. As players come back, the younger players will drop away. That's just how it is. Always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
mm-hmm.
I think
I'd give him Keep It Real gave him a 7. What were you trying to give him?
I thought
Let's see,
he
seven.
did he
Let
create
me make sure.
did
Give
he,
me 6.5 for Alexander. Dustin gave him a 6. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's for McConnell. Excuse me. For Alexander, for Clark. Keep it real. Gave him a 7. 8.5 from Honesty. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, did he definitely created a chance. I remember he played one lovely pass from
Yeah,
the
he got an assist yesterday.
yeah, he got an assist. Yeah, I thought I'd give him
He had
seven
three
and a
key
half.
passes, 3 key passes, 1 assist, 70 touches. Was 91% for his passing. Had a shot off target. Had a shot blocked. Was 3 out of 12 for his ground duels. Like to see that improve, but that's okay. 2 fouls, 2 clearances, 1 interception, 2 tackles.
I'd have to say that's an above average performance.
I'd say he's above average, certainly. Alexander gave him a 7.5. Dustin gave him a 6. Okay. Clark created the most chances yesterday for us in the first half. Yep. Yeah.
That's why I was interested to see his stats because I remember
Yeah.
thinking, no, well, watching it, he was definitely involved. You know, he was definitely.
Yeah, he had
he
had 3 key passes. 3 key passes.
Yeah.
Was
Couldn't put him
a
in. That's
stat.
what I couldn't put him below average. Right?
No, I wouldn't put him below average. I put him above average for sure. I thought he played well. Is that cool with
Yeah,
you?
and I
Above
remember
average?
that one pass. Yeah, I remember that one pass in particular where Gakpo, wasn't it? Gakpo for some reason whatsoever just delayed for that extra half a second.
Mm-hmm.
He would have had 2 assists.
He could have. Yeah, I know. I actually, it's not the okay. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because Cody had 4 shots, and I think one of them was a result of a pass from. I think that was the pass from Clark. Actually, it was one of his kicks, one of the shots.
All he had to do was hit it. Not first time, but second time. He just took an extra touch, and it was just nothing. Really
No.
disappointing. That game was close at that stage.
Yeah. How about for let's go to Kumas first. How about for Kumas? Young man got a goal, obviously a deflected goal, but all the same, it's a goal, does not matter. You gotta shoot the score, and that's what he did. I'll give you some of his stats real quick. He had obviously the goal, but he had 1 shot on target. He had only 17 touches, but was 8 out of 9 for his passing. Obviously had 1 key pass, 1 big chance created, was 1 for 4 for his ground duels. Obviously broke the 0-0, tie going in for us into halftime to give us a 1-0 lead. Had 1 tackle. What were you thinking about Kumas, the man who you predicted to score?
Yeah, 17 touches. That's all he had.
That's all he had.
And I reckon 5 of those were in that goal because he touched the ball at least. No, he did. He touched the ball at least.
Oh, in the build-up play, yeah.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times in the 1, 2, 3, 4, probably.
Right.
So that brings it down to Jesus. I mean, Haaland touches the ball more than that probably.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. Actually, how many minutes did he play?
He only played. He played 63 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not many. You would think that he would have more touches in 63 minutes, but
you really would. You really, really would. Like that's not getting involved. I know he scored. Open up.
But that's also could be the reason why. I mean, like we weren't for that right side. You had McConnell and you had Bradley on that right side somewhat at points, and a lot of the generated play wasn't necessarily going through for one of the first times through our right side too much, because McConnell doesn't have that many touches either. McConnell had 30 touches, excuse me. And then Kumas as well is only had, like I said, Kumas had 17. And then let me double check. Let me check on actually Bobby Clark's touches. And then 70 touches for Bobby Clark. So Bobby Clark was getting a lot of the play on that left side, but when it came to Kumas, I guess it was either switching fields or it just was not getting getting directed towards Kumas too much. Maybe they're looking for Cody a little bit more so than not. That's
Yeah.
understandable.
Well, I'd still struggle to give him an above average, even though he scored. So I'm going to have to say seven and
Yeah,
a half.
yeah. It looks like Kumas got an 8 from Dakota, 7.5 from Alexander, a 6 from Dustin. Um, yeah, I would say let's give him a 7. Let's give him a 7. Despite we're
Yeah,
being cool. We're not getting too geeked up over the fact that it was a great goal. Great to have a 1-0 lead. Kind of takes a little
yeah,
bit of the pressure off of all of us. But yeah, look, we could probably get a little bit more out of him.
yeah. How can we say he was above average and that was? But when you look at that was literally the only thing he did in the game.
Yeah.
If you take
Yep.
the 3 or 4 touches, that leaves 14 touches. If we're being generous,
Mm-hmm.
over an hour, which is
Yeah.
a touch every 3 4 minutes. That's not being above. So it wouldn't be right to say he was above average.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Big up Info Uncle Roz. Big up Info Uncle
yeah,
Roz. I
big
see
up,
you in
Brad.
the house. So let's just move on to Cody because we don't want to end on a bad note. So I know that Cody's going to get. I'm going to be, I'm going to be honest and be mature here to say that Cody was the senior influence in the front line. 89 minutes he played. He had no goals. He had no assists, but had 3 shots off target, 1 shot blocked, 2 dribble attempts were successful. He had 1 big chance that he missed. He only had 31 touches, was 9 out of 11 for his passing. So he wasn't really a creator, wasn't necessarily a distributor of the ball, much less a person that was getting a lot of shots on, but off. But he had 4 shots all the same. He had 2 fouls he committed, was fouled twice himself, 1 interception, 1 tackle. Nothing super spectacular for Cody. I'm looking for a lot more from Cody, to be honest with you, because I know that he has it in him to produce that. I would have given Cody I personally, though, because of that, I would have said he had a below average performance for me. But I'm not going to go as far as to say he had a failing grade. But I would definitely say I think that he did have a below average performance. What's your thoughts?
Can't go along with that, or can't go against any of that. Just watching him, the numbers, the whole lot adds up to. Yeah, look, I'd even go as far as to say a 5. I just wasn't feeling it. Yes, he can drift in and out.
Mm-hmm.
He can. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange with him. It's strange. I just like to see him in a slightly withdrawn position or a wide position, play every week, play 30 games in a row, and then see what he's like. Because
Yes, great point. Great
this isn't
point.
him. This isn't him. And I just think the next manager would be a bit of a clean slate job for him.
Mm-hmm.
And but right now, considering what you were talking about, he was the name from the. I'll give you the leadership group, if you want to call it that. That was
Mm-hmm.
part of the front 3, and he
Mm-hmm.
probably out of all of them performed the least.
Yeah,
Dan's came on. We're not going to forget it, but Dan's came on and
yeah.
showed him how it's done.
It's gonna
Kumas
it's gonna
opened the
hurt. It's
score.
gonna hurt a lot of people's image of Cody because of Dan's play. Like we were expecting that kind of play from Cody, not Dan's per se, and we ended up getting it out of
Who would
Dan's instead of
agree? Yeah, who would agree? You're not wrong. It's just that guy that Cody is that guy that we seem to have a couple of that is just a little bit too versatile for their own good. You can be a little bit, too much of anything for your own good. And
Mhm.
someone like Cody, just a little bit too versatile. Sometimes it helps to be, you know, a kind of look, I can play there if you want, but this is where I play.
Mhm.
And then you get picked there 90% of the time rather than get chopped and changed and moved around. So it's never great for a player. And I always worry for a player that's supposed, plays for a club as big as us. and doesn't have
Mhm.
a nailed on position. So
Mhm. Yeah,
I
I
don't
want
know
to
what
see him
you
just
think.
get a run of games. I want to see him get a run of games. Like
Yeah.
as in, I'm going to be critical. I'm going to, evaluate him,
Where do you
correctly.
see him though? Where is your role? Like I'm this is my question I ask everyone. What do you think is his best position?
I would like to, I would like to see him as like a shadow striker,
Yeah.
or even, and if it means him being a nine, then fine. But I would like to see him as possibly like a shadow striker. I'm kind of like moving away from the left wing concept of him playing a left wing, considering that the majority of the time that we see him, it's starting to not be on the left wing, especially since that's pretty much Diaz's role, and I don't think he provides or creates anything substantially better than Diaz does on the left wing. So, if anything, I'd like to see him focus and get a little bit more out of trying to figure out how he makes the nine role his own. But that's just me personally.
Yeah. 'Cause I think it's wide-ish, but I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I think it's definitely not a right. I think he's on the left of a front three is sort of not left winger, but on the left of a front three. I think,
Mhm.
but I just think he needs to be on the left of the front three and playing every week. I think the playing every week thing is
Mhm.
just as important as where you play.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that.
But yeah, I just think he's one of the two people I have in my head that the new manager might, like I've said here before, go, I'm going to build my team around him or I'm going to sell
Yep.
him.
Yep. Yep. No, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. But but it helps if we can kind of like, showcase his talents a little bit more, enough that if we're not completely sold on him being the future for us, at least we can get something in return for the player. Um,
I
I'm
was,
gonna
I
move on.
will say,
Hopefully.
sorry,
Mhm.
I'll just say one thing. I was, because we've spoken of how good a finisher he is. I was very disappointed that he didn't take that chance yesterday that he had.
Oh, the one that he skied over the net.
Not the one where he hesitated. All he had to do
Oh,
was hit it, and he hesitated. Clark set it up,
yeah,
and you
the
could
one that
see
Clark.
what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
And I'm not going to go on this stands needs to be starting kind of thing, but we're talking about like instinct earlier on. He just had that kind of. He didn't have that like Nunes hits that first time. Like Nunes hits that first time. He just does. Gakpo tries to be a little bit too clever. He doesn't have
Mhm.
that. Like I've spoken about him being our best finisher, but I don't know if he's our most natural striker. Like
Right. I got you. Yeah.
so. Anyway, yeah. Next
Yes.
on the chopping block.
Yes. Yes. Uh, certainly. Well, I wish Rasta Crab was here live to give his word and his say on his own ratings, but and hopefully he's still part of the chat, because we saved one of the best for last. We saved our boy Harvey Elliott, one of the young lads who, what's funny is that you hear these things out there and you hear like there's so much praise and so much admiration given out there. Yeah, he did that real quick, Dakota, didn't he? Um,
He became a hermit crab all of a sudden. He just popped
yeah,
himself back down.
just slid off sideways like on a crab style, crab walk. Um, yeah, yesterday I saw a couple broadcasts talk about a lot of the Chelsea, especially a lot of people for Chelsea, if not some of our rivals, were out to try to like really downplay the use of youth players that we've been utilizing, especially in the cup game and now even with this game. And we'll go more in depth in another episode about that kind of like nonsense talk by them. But what's unique about this, and the point of why I'm bringing this all up, is Harvey Elliott is not some 23, 24, 26-year-old player. I understand he just had his 100th start a couple of games ago, but um, this young man plays like a true G, like a true veteran. And yet sometimes it gets overlooked that he's younger than some of these quote unquote youth players from the youth academy that are playing in the lineup. which is incredible to me. And it's just the sheer fact that a lot of us have just taken on the mindset of thinking of him as a, everyday senior player, which he is. But I'm just saying, as in age wise, you know what you feel what I'm saying, Brian?
Yeah.
So it's unique in that this young man, despite the fact that yes, he's not a guaranteed starter for this club at the very moment, he's taking on the role that we need for him to perform, and that is right now temporary starter, super sub, whatever it is. And he's such an amazingly well-positioned role model for these young lads out there to go and say, whether it's Curtis Jones, whether it's Harvey Elliott, seeing these young lads, be able to have a pathway into this lineup, have a pathway into getting minutes, have a pathway into being a part of this team. It's got to give you some type of hope and some type of promise in your mind that could be you too. And that's that's enormously incredible about these young lads. And it's something that you have to give credit to Elliott by saying he's setting a great example. And you can see that he's definitely engaged with a lot of the young lads. He's involved with the development of them, considering that there's a lot of players, and I saw the interview with Mo Salah, there's a lot of players out there that have taken on some of these younger players under their wing to kind of help, condition them to be able to be ready for the rigors of the Premier League. And we're enjoying the spoils of it when we see play like we did. 120 minutes played in the game before that, then gets himself involved in today. Let's see, he played 78 minutes today, basically close to, if not 200 minutes played in this, in the last two games. Incredible. What's your rating on Harvey Elliott?
Yeah, just to go with what you said, there's a difference between a young player, inexperienced player, experienced player, but there's very few players that will be 21 and hit 100 for any top flight club, let alone a club as big as Liverpool. It's remarkable, really. It really is. To be he came into this team 2 years younger than Bradley was when Bradley came.
Mm-hmm.
It's it is. I think it's remarkable. I can never really criticize the lad, especially come back from what he came back from.
I like the Red Bull Elliott name. That kind of stuck with me. I like that name. That's kind of good.
But the man, I don't know. He's like Gomez. The guy never lets you down. I don't know. What can you say about it? So he's been above average pretty much every game he's played. Not average. I think he's
been well above average. Yeah, I think he's been above average considering he creates so much energy. He creates so much, just essence and intensity. That's what Klopp wants. One of the reasons why maybe even some of these players break down, but all the same, Klopp says it time and time again. His system demands intensity. It demands.
Well, hopefully, Twelfan, you were talking about the pathway, and hopefully these two, Elliott and Bradley, can turn around and point to the younger kids that if I went to Blackburn on loan. They bought me and then they sent me straight out to Blackburn on loan, and I got way better. Bradley can say they sent me to Bolton down in the Championship, and I got way better. And
way better.
To show kids as well that go out on loan to the right club. Don't fixate on that. That can really help your career.
Yeah.
It's made them. It's like a finishing school. You go up and you play men's football. That's what they call it. It's not trying to be offensive, but when you leave the academy, when they say you're playing men's football. Before that, you've been playing kids football, basically. And the Championship is a hell of a league. So
it is.
to say to any of these other kids, look, if the club turns around to it and says we want to send you on loan to this club in the championship for a season, embrace it. Look at it. I did it, and I'm in the first. It's not a snub. It's not like getting sent to some crappy little club, especially if they've just bought you. We brought in Harvey Elliott. The big thing from Fulham, sent him out on loan.
Yeah.
So there's learning opportunities all over the pitch there.
What was I'll give you some of his stats real quick. This is for the chat too, because I saw 8.5 from Dakota.
Above average.
He's well above average for me. If not, he could almost get into that top tier zone, because listen to some of these stats. He had an assist obviously yesterday, but he had a shot on target, shot off target. He had 62 touches, was 88% accuracy with his passing, 4 key passes, was 2 out of 3 for his long balls. He had created, and he had 4 key passes and 1 big chance created. Obviously we all want the ground duels or whatever to be better, because he was 0 for 6 for his ground duels, but all the same, he wasn't tense enough to be involved in pushing the press or initiating the press. Had 1 clearance. He was definitely a really good.
Keller's looking a bit lonely up there in the top tier all on his own.
Yeah.
No one's got. I mean, no one's really kind of made a solid case for me yet.
I have to say, he's definitely. I would put him, if you're going to put him above average, he's got to go to the top of the class though, above average.
Sure, what's the stat saying?
That's safe to say, right? 4 key passes, 1 big chance created, and an assist.
I think the chat is going with a general. I'm getting a general 8. I'm getting a general 8, sort of 8.5 vibe.
Yeah.
Who's honestly talking?
I'll say I'll definitely keep him at the top of the tier for above 8, but I mean, or at the above 8, I'll keep him at the front of the class. Before we get into it, what?
I'm just wondering who. I've obviously missed something. Who's honestly talking about? You can see the disgust when speaking about it.
Yeah. So it was basically what the comment I said earlier, which was there was a couple. I don't know the name of the show that he's on. And Honesty could probably tell you the name of the guy that actually said it. And I think he's a Manchester United fan. I think he is. But on a podcast, on a different podcast, this guy came on, was trying to really downplay the fact that a lot of people have been talking about the youth and how much they contributed to the cup win, and even in this game as well. But he was talking about how the average age for Chelsea was actually lower than the average age for LFC in that cup final. But it doesn't help the average when you have an over 30 Endo, you have an over 30 Virgil van Dijk in the lineup, and you have a 29-year-old Robbo in the lineup. That really bumped up the average for what the lineup was presented as.
Well, who is this? Is that Manish guy? Is it Manish? Matisse? Oh no! If he's on Rio Ferdinand's podcast, he must be somebody. That guy.
He's on his Rio Ferdinand's podcast. That he's
Why
on.
would anybody listen to Rio Ferdinand's podcast? Honestly, you need your head checking if you're listening to Rio Ferdinand.
We're not. I don't. You know what? I was for necessarily listening to it. It was actually it was for me. It was another content creator, Red's content creator out there. Did a.
Oh, I'm assuming. Yeah, sorry, I didn't think you'd be listening to it. I'm assuming. Everyone. Anything controversial that gets said on it, you hear about it anyway.
It's usually through Rio.
Weird ones have to listen to that.
Yeah. No, he made he's a stupid comment. He was basically just trying to undermine the fact that the youth accomplishments, undermine the amount of contributions that they are putting, or the importance of what they served in the roles that they had for us. And he was trying to make it seem like, it was more so Chelsea that had the younger players rather than us that had younger players. But he kind of glazed over the concept of the fact that the younger players that he was referencing were playing for the youth academy, as opposed to the younger players that he's referencing for Chelsea were high value transfers that had come to the team. That's a huge difference. All the players that were under 21 for them, at least, were players 21 and under, at least, were players that played levels. We're playing at high level football. These other players that we're bringing in, we're playing, in the PL2, basically.
That's the thing about statistics. That's the thing about statistics. If you just said to somebody who had the youngest team there, well, I'll show you Chelsea 22.9, Liverpool 23.4, yada yada yada. But you look at the two teams, which is the youth team? Which is the 50% youth team cobbled together first team, and which is he's 21 but he costs 60 million. Okay, he's 22 but he costs you 80 million.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the thing, it's just the context is everything. So nobody can say that we didn't have that young team and they went and showed it again. Like, we're going to get on to like the good bits now. It's like talking about the younger team.
Let's get on to the good bits. Let's get on to the good bits for sure. Like Ibu. I thought Ibu came in and just did like Ibu was immense.
I don't know what he was on. I
thought he had a better performance than Virgil van Dijk, to tell you the truth, at center back.
I'm not casting aspersions, but I don't know what he had in his tea at halftime before he came out. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Straight into it. Like he'd been playing the first half. Like, up to the speed of it, I couldn't believe it. He just come. It was, I don't know. Literally, I don't know what someone said to him.
Yeah.
Or what Bob said to him, or what he was feeling, but that was absolutely amazing.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I think he's really taken on that role. I really think, and not to step on your foot, no. I was gonna say, I really think he's taken on the role that I spoke of when I said about how Klopp mentioned that he spoke to Ibu and said, "You're the guy today." Like, you're the guy. Like, when he was playing, he's playing alongside Kwanzaa, and he's like, "You are the leader of this back line. You are the guy today." And ever since that game, you've seen just an immense emergence, like another level that he's taken it to. And I'm not saying that he was like, bad or not good before that level, before that game. I'm just saying, though, he's just taken on a new determination with this play. I love the fact. I mean, there were some people out there calling him the bozo gene or something like that, or whatever, or something, something on those lines. And
he had the bozo gene in terms of, which basically is just kind of an internet way of saying he was prone. What that would have been when I was growing up was someone said he's prone to the odd rash challenge. That's what they would have said. He's prone to the odd rash decision, which means once every 3 or 4 games, he might do something, and you'd be like, what are you doing over there? You're a bit weird. Calm down. That's really all that was. That's what. But on the internet, it gets turned into, he's about, I'm not having to go at you and just saying, people, it's like, look, that's what young defenders have always been like. Young defenders trying too hard, trying to getting into a tackle that they didn't need to get into.
Right.
And all of those things. It's like everything about Ibu that wasn't perfect like that, I all think could be ironed out just through, number one, growing older, basically, as a footballer and learning more on the pitch. The more you play, the more you learn. And just by staying fit, by growing older, and his body and I don't mean being injury prone, I just mean the silly little ones where he's fit for 2 games, then he's out for 1 game, then he's back for 3 games, then he's out for 2 games. And not being out for 6 months or 8 months, it's just getting a string of 20 games together, 30 games together, because he has absolutely everything. Yep. He's unbeatable. He should be unbeatable. His size, his speed, reading the game, quality. He should basically be unbeatable if he's switched on and he's fit. And the way he came out yesterday, if he played like that in every game, I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, it honestly says it well. It says, I think he thinks Ibu's problem was every time he he was a starter, getting into form. He got injured. Now he is getting older. Now that he is getting older, he is fit. You see the quality of Ibu. Yeah,
Quality was
I can
always
agree.
there. Quality
Yeah,
was
I can.
always there to see. It was always
Yeah,
there to see. Like the guy
yeah,
captained France. You were talking about him, like he's captained France.
yeah.
This is a French team that can lead, that just by just timing has probably 4 or 5 of the best centre halves in world football. They're
Yeah.
leaving people like Willie Saliba can't even get into the French team. Jules Koundé, one of the best centre halves in Europe, is having to play right back.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like Kanate has played and captained that team, World Cup winning, European champions, France, at the age of 20, 21. I'm not saying he's the permanent captain, but he's worn the armband.
No, but he has the
Like
armband. Yeah,
this guy has
he's
serious
taken on a
pedigree.
new. He's got a great person to model himself after too, as him taking leadership roles. But go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm just saying this guy has everything. He just don't be surprised if he keeps. Yeah, it's just staying fit. Once he can play 30 games a season,
Hmm.
he's going to be an absolute monster.
He's going to be absolute. Yeah, I mean, I think of him as a beast already. You know, I think of him as like he might be Incredible Hulk, but he's the Incredible Hulk when Dr. Banner was still able to when Dr.
Yeah,
Banner was able to be Hulk
like
and Dr. Banner at the same time. You
I've
know,
just,
he's starting to
I've just
figure that
moved.
part out.
Yeah. I've just moved past the point where every week it'd be like, well, let's just wait and see if he's fit.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
come on, we
Yeah, I
talk about
understand.
like
I'm
every
spot
single
on.
week was like, yeah, well, let's just wait and see if he's fit.
Spot
Now
on.
I'm kind of in that expecting him to be fit kind of
Right.
state. So I'm more. He seems to have just come with like probably growing, but like I mean, come on, anybody that is that big
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
runs around for a living and kicks things for a living,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to get knocked. You got a lot of muscles, you got a lot of tendons. You're carrying a lot of weight around.
Yep. No, you are.
You
You are.
you put a lot of pressure on all your joints and your ankles and all of that. So expect it when you're a young kid. But yeah, that 45 minutes yesterday, it was almost funny how insane it was, how just pumped up he was, but in a good way.
What about the next one? I thought that was a really determination of the game, at least in solidifying our win, or at least like making sure that we were going to be able to push over the and not allow for some silly goal to go in and end up being a 1-1 1-1 tie, something along those lines. I thought that this was good to see. It wasn't like you're trying to rinse him for a lot of minutes or something like that. But McAllister got in, and obviously Dan's got into a minute later. But
Mm.
before 1 minute on the 62nd minute, we brought in McAllister, and then the 63rd minute we brought in Dan's. But that 62nd minute might be getting overlooked at the importance of what Macca brought. Macca brought that true, like when he came in for James McConnell, he brought in some real semblance of what we were looking for from that midfield, in production wise, as in the ability to create. I thought Macca was really, really good yesterday.
And look at what we did. We like what you're going back to what you're saying. We took off a kid
Mm-hmm,
and a more senior player
mm-hmm.
and brought on a kid and a more senior player.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah. So would you
we
say
switched it up.
above average? But where would you have him in the above average queue? Like where would you
I'd
put?
have him at the bottom of the above because he didn't get, you know,
Yeah, he only got 27. He only got 28 minutes.
yeah. So I mean,
But
high average, low above average. So I'll
so
go with that.
let's put him in between Clark and Kwanzaa.
Sure.
Is that
Yeah.
is that safe? Above
Yeah.
average,
Sure.
but to put him kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
no. I'd
see.
have him.
I guess the
Who's
game
at the
was
bottom there?
7.
No, I'd
What's
have
that?
him below. I'd have him actually at the bottom of the above average. Joey had a
Oh,
better game.
you have Gomez above him.
Yeah, I thought Joey had a better game.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it doesn't really matter, but I'd have him lower down as opposed to higher up. So middle or lower down.
Okay.
What was he getting? He got
Um,
7 from honesty. He got a. I don't rate Maka anymore. Okay,
what's
okay,
that?
Dustin. Just Dustin saying I
Oh,
don't rate
he
Maka
doesn't rate
anymore.
Mac anymore. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I thought he made a difference, as Drunk Vigo said. I thought he's definitely a difference maker in the game. I'll tell you who was a definite difference maker in the game, and that's the young man that got subbed in a minute later.
Yeah,
Big up
here
to
we go.
JD. Wow, what a performance by Jaden Dans. I'm sure he is on a high still from yesterday because that guy was absolutely dialed in and just having fun. That's the greatest thing to see out there. It's just he looked like he was just having fun with it. You know, he just like wasn't scared of the platform or the stage. Was knew that he was going to have opportunities. Being he's going to be getting service from a Maca or even Bobby Clark. You know, or I absolutely loved the performance that we saw from Jaden Dans. He came in for Louis Kumas and absolutely balled out yesterday. Got 2 goals and
Oh, he
2
came in
very
for
distinctly
Kuma.
different goals, too, by the way. 2
He came in
distinctly
for
different goals,
Kuma.
too.
Sorry, yeah, sorry. I said it earlier on that we brought off 2 kids and brought no, but he came on for Kumas. Yes, correct. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
just mistaken with what I said earlier on. I thought he came on for Gakpo. He did for us, Gakpo.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, he came on for Kumas. Yeah. Um, Definitely going top tier, obviously. I mean, despite the fact
man
that he
of
only played
the man
27
of the match.
minutes.
Man of the
Okay,
match.
that's your man of the match. Okay.
Yeah, that
I'll
first.
put him here as the 3. Obviously, top tier means you're a man of the match candidate.
Yeah,
So, you know, so I'll definitely and we tier them. Brian and I tier them as in top of the class, and then towards more like kind of like the ratings that way, so that you can kind of get your 8.5s or 8.2s or whatever the heck you guys utilize as your decimal points.
yeah. Left to right,
Um, yeah,
closer you
left
are
to
to the
right.
left, the
Yep.
higher up you are. But that first finish,
Um,
I speak a lot about players needing games,
mhm,
or needing a game or a moment.
mhm,
I'd go so far as to say that won't be, I'm not mapping out anyone's career here because that's madness. But that was I don't know. I don't know how to describe that really. I don't want to overblow it, but to see a
mhm.
kid like that finish a chance like that,
Oh,
the way he did it, really, I
see.
haven't seen anything like that in a while because it just shows such pure natural striker instinct, not really anything, not sort of getting involved in the game, just a one-off moment where in a half a second, it sort of,
Mhm,
so how can I, yeah, look, basically, nobody knew outside of Liverpool knew who Jaden Dans was yesterday,
mhm,
right? And
mhm,
if he'd had a good game and he'd been involved and he hadn't scored, but he'd had a good game, right? And he played
mhm,
like
mhm.
I would have had a few people, football fans, my friends, would said, "Jaden, oh, this Dans guy, yeah, oh him, yeah, yeah. What about him? What kind of player is he? What's he like? What kind of footballer?" No one
Mhm.
today is asking what kind of player he is.
Yeah,
With one finish, people, oh right, okay, well that's what kind of player. He's a fucking striker. He's a
he's a
that
striker.
he's a striker.
He is a striker
Yeah,
for sure.
you don't need to explain. Oh, he's good at this. He's good at that. It's just look at that finish. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Like I
see
said,
what.
2 very distinctly different finishes on both of his goals, and both of them were very well taken.
Like
Very well taken.
Darwin Nunes lifting it
Oh,
over the keeper
overwhelmingly.
the
I
other
mean,
day.
I see overwhelmingly the MOTMs are getting
Oh,
dropped for Dan's. Overwhelmingly. Wow. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, he got it on the who was I watching? ITV. He got it on ITV, on the English channel that was showing the match yesterday.
Oh,
The
really?
only,
Okay.
yeah, Ali McCoy's the ex-Ranger striker. It was a great co-coms. I think he's great fun. He doesn't take it too seriously at all, but he's not a clown or a fool. You know, he just has fun with the game. He doesn't get too deep into it. And he just calls it. He sees it, and he's like, "What do you mean, man of the match? What are you asking me, man of the match for? You just see this fucking gig come on and bang one, and then do that, and then chip the keeper like he's bloody Pippo Inzaghi from 1998. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Just, like there isn't. It's just this guy's obviously man of the match. I don't care if he's only played half an hour. He's like, kid comes on and does that. You have to give him the man of the match. You know, strikers bias.
I give it to you. I'll give it to you. Yeah.
You know, whatever. But it just shows you that this is a guy who's a Rangers. This guy, he's never played for Liverpool. He's a Rangers guy. He's, you know, he's not English. He's no affiliation whatsoever. He's just a former striker. No. Ali McCoy, the Rangers.
Oh, I just talking about Dance. Okay, my bad. Sorry.
And like he has no, you know, no bias towards Liverpool. Nothing. This guy just loves football, loves strikers, and he's just like, you have to give this kid man of the match. You know, so it's not like Carrick.
That's high praise.
Yeah, it's not like Carrick or McManaman or something like that giving him man of the match. It's just someone who's seen. He said, "Look, what like that kid's a proper striker."
Right, not a rival, but a neutral giving him like
proper neutral,
nothing invested in it other than acknowledging that the young man balled out.
You know, and to give him that on a half an hour play.
Yeah. Well,
he announced himself, as they say. He announced himself yesterday.
Yeah. I was going to say the next two individuals, I don't want to rate because I don't want to do them a disservice. I mean, Trey Naoni only had 12 minutes of play. Kai Gordon, even less than that. He had 1 minute of play. So I don't want to say rate them, but I want to acknowledge the fact that, hey, kudos to it's good to see Kai Gordon at least being involved with the senior team, getting a chance to recertify himself as one of those top, you know, prospects to be able to contribute to the senior team. And you got to say a lot about the fact that Trey Naoni, 16 years old, he's certainly one to keep your eye on. The simple fact that he's 16 and yet still playing with these men, absolutely incredible. Well done. You know, obviously he only had a few minutes, had 12 minutes of play, but was 7 for 7 for his passing. You know, involved. Didn't, again, as you mentioned earlier, kind of, you know, seemed to get over his butterflies very quickly with the little joke or whatever it was that Klopp told him to kind of like, you know, get him settled in and kind of, you know, and to be able to focus in on the next task at hand, which is just going out there and playing. I thought well done by Klopp and well done by both young men to just get an appearance and show up in Anfield.
Yeah, it's amazing for them. Like we spoke about earlier on, just kill the nerves. Tell them go out there, enjoy it. You know, life is short. You know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Go out there, enjoy it on the pitch, and look, it's becoming a bit of a talent factory. You know, and I like to see it. It's not just about saving money, but I think it's about realizing in these kind of times that the FFPs and the SPS, all that stuff, it's actually going to start biting. And we announced the loss today because of, you know, it's not a big loss, but you know, we're up in certain things, but we announced a pre-tax loss. So we need to be aware of the fact that big clubs are going to have to tighten their belts, and they're going to be looking at us thinking, why haven't we got 6 or 7 players coming through like they have?
Yeah, you know, no, you're right about that. You're right about that. You're absolutely right.
This is going to be necessary. This, you know, these guys won't all be superstars. They won't all, but this, to have a proper production line coming, that the academy isn't just there in name only, you know, to be a kind of a shiny thing that looks nice. It's actually producing players. Because we can't go out there and spend yada yada yada. Like I said, we posted a loss this year, so we'll be tight enough on what we can spend in the summer. So it's spending an extra few million in that academy over the last few years is starting to pay dividends now. It really is, because it's when it's the last time, We had this kind of quality coming through. It hasn't happened in 25 years. We've had a bunch of players like this that look ready for first team football.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, you're right
like
about that.
Kay Gordon, I'd give him the ceremonial 7, I'll call it from now on. And rather than giving him an NA, anyone that doesn't get, we'll give him a ceremonial 7 because they didn't do enough to be below, or so those boys all get a mark for coming on, especially Trainioni, who wouldn't care if he gave him a minus 100. He got on the pitch. That's all it's ever mattered to him to do something like that. Now, I know he bought him from Leicester and he's not a kid from the Wirral or anything like that, but, still at that age, under Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, no, it's huge. Huge.
Getting to work for the best.
I put Jurgen as top class. I put him in the, manager of the match. I guess we can call it,
Did a great job.
Masterclass by, surprising a lot of us, maybe angering some of us to see some of the players that he chose, not because they're not worthy, but more so possibly because of the minutes or this or that, but obviously he knows what it is. He's getting the advice from medical staff. I thought he was spot on, but I more so wanted to say, who's your man of the match? I think it's kind of obvious who the man of the match is for everyone in the chat. I mean, like, is Dan's your man of the match also, or maybe Kelleher, maybe Ibu?
No, for me, it has to be Dan's.
Dan's.
It absolutely has to be, just purely for, like I said, this is difficult to explain because it's not a thing, but it's just certain things that make you feel in football. And that this isn't overstating this, but seeing him finish that goal the way he finished the first time, it's like, right, okay, this has made me feel maybe we've got something here with this guy.
Yeah.
I agree
with that.
It's just purely on it. It's like, right, this guy's really making me stand up and take notice. Because you will always produce great players. You'll always produce young Ryan Kent, people like that. They'll always come through in knives and they'll float away and all that. But every now and again, and it only happens every now and again, I'm old enough to be lucky this might be happening. Every now and again, a new Michael Owen is going to come. Every now and again, a new Robbie Fowler is going to come through. You're going to have to deal with 100 Jordan Ives and Harry Wilsons. But it's going to happen because when Messi's return, like in 5 years' time, it isn't going to be some barren landscape where everyone's just a bit shit. Like a new Mbappe is going to come through. So a new, let's not say Messi, but a new Lewandowski is going to appear. So it's it's like, what are those earthquakes? Look, well, it hasn't happened in 45 years, so we're probably due one, lads. And I think I just get the feeling we might have one of these guys come true, that it's actually in 5 years' time, it's, without wanting to go comic book on it, but in 5 years' time, it's, oh, well, Real Madrid are going to be bidding 150 million for Dan's next year. Do you know what I'm saying? Just there has to be a new Fowler or Owen eventually, and we haven't had one in a long time. And if this guy can finish like that, and he can have a presence like that, even if he has a bad career, he's going to be a championship football if he stays fit. If he can play like that,
I agree with that completely.
I really want to see one come along, and it's about time we had one. It's about time we had a Beckham or something like that. I'm just after dropping the link there to Frank Carlisle's. So in the chat, which we might be going on after this is finished, I'll be dropping over anyway.
Yep. We're gonna be landing the plane. The plane is definitely coming in for the landing here. We've got our man of the match. I don't know. Let me double check because I don't want to get in trouble for it. Let me see. I will see. Yeah, Dan's can't drink. So okay, so I don't know what the alcohol, the legal age in England is to be able to have a beverage, adult
18.
beverage. What is it?
18.
It is 18. Oh, okay. So he can have an adult.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, he just makes the cut. Okay, but let's not get him too crazy on it. All right, let's not get him too crazy
It's
on
18
that.
everywhere. We don't have any weird like different places laws. It's just 18 everywhere.
I got you. I got you. Here is
Same
21. It's
Yeah,
21 in America. That's what. So
that's
just want to
insane.
double check and make sure.
Yeah, 21. Try doing that shit in Ireland. You know that song, Try That in a Small Town? Remember that
Yeah,
song? Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Try that in
I was
Europe.
like,
Not working.
I said, yeah, 20 over 21 to drink. Try that in Ireland. That's all I say. Try that in Ireland.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah. He
be
looks.
voting out government quicker than you can ever. Just you just.
Yeah, yeah. No, the final thought. Do you have a final thought? And do you want to do a shout real quick as well? We're gonna end the stream after your final thought and my final thought.
Final thoughts are, yeah, we might have one on our hands. Let's go against everything I've just done and be calm about it. Not talk about Real Madrid wanting them for 150 million in a couple of years. But final thoughts is we may have one on our hands. And shout outs: Beige and Reds TV, Ensman TV, Quasibo TV, Frank Carlisle, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, got them all in there. Definitely all friends of the Reds community, all friends of the channel here. And yes, certainly my final thought was that look, if there's anything that we've seen, despite the fact that this is going to be we're nearing the end of the Klopp era, I definitely think that the future is bright for whoever ends up taking on the role of a new manager, whether and also whoever takes on the new role of sporting director. I think that they're walking into a club that is well situated with some great youth players, some great senior players that continue to foster a lot of the confidence that we're seeing in these young men. And it's something that just needs to be noted as something. Let's enjoy the ride, people. Like I know a lot of times we have a lot of those people that want to be in the back of the bus and screaming and yelling and complaining the entire ride. You know what, man? Pipe down, crank up the tunes here, and let's just enjoy the ride, man. Let's just enjoy the ride. Let's get all these Infinity Stones, one Infinity Stone down. Let's just continue to get this gauntlet. And yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for showing the love and sticking it out with us. I know a lot of you guys have stuck it out with us as well. Had some good numbers today, so I appreciate each and every one of you. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. I hope that you're here with us because the Mighty Red Army is nothing without the Reds, and that means you. So as the 12th man, I hope that you will be there. And yeah, we will be there 7 p.m. UK time. And if you have the opportunity or if you're free, definitely go and give a little, you don't have to say raid because I don't know if Frank will understand that concept, but you can definitely say hello, from the 12th Man Show here, and show some love to the Frank Carlisle Show. And yeah, until tomorrow, take care of yourselves. Continue to take care of your loved ones. They're important in our lives, as always, just as much as you are important in my life. I bid you adieu for now and until tomorrow. Take care, guys.